Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Ground to Get Real Life Topics from a Biblical Perspective. My name is Brian Boyd, and tonight's topic is transformation. And first and foremost, everyone, as always, I pray that y'all been doing good, man. And as you can see, I'm live streaming once again. This is the second time, and honestly, I don't even know how this came about. I just know a while back I said I wanted to start live streaming again, and then after that, I started live streaming. So here we are, y'all. And it's funny because it kind of goes into the topic we're going to be talking about tonight, which is transformation. And it's interesting because, for those who did watch me and watch Grounded, like back when I first started, I was live streaming all the time. So that was from mid-June up until September. And now all of a sudden I'm starting to live stream again. But I guess that kind of goes into the topic what transformation is or what transformation is about, because when you think about it, it's about changing. It's about moving. It's about going to different phases and not staying stagnant. And this is funny because this is something that has been on my mind all week, as a matter of fact. And it came from the aspect of when you look at life, there are two groups of people, right? You see people that are changing, people that are always constantly progressing. They're going after their goals and their dreams. And then on the opposite end, you see the other people. You see the people that are stagnant, people that want to change, but they don't really do anything to get there. And one of the things I've been trying to figure out, one of the things I've been trying to learn is to really figure out why don't those type of people change? Why don't that group of people change? And it hit me after doing a lot of studying. Like I said, I did both biblical studying and reading, and I came to the conclusion, with the help of the Lord, of course, that the reason why most people don't change is not because of the knowledge that they have, but not even the access, because we live in an information age where, everything that we could ever want is literally in the power of our hands. It's in the phones and stuff that we have. But the reason why most people don't change is because their mindsets don't change. The very beliefs, the things that they believe in, they don't change. And because those beliefs don't change, they don't change. And it comes back to what my mentor used to tell me, that if you want to control your destiny, you first have to start with your thoughts, because your thoughts become your actions become your habits become your character, and your character ultimately becomes your destiny. So with that being said, in order to control your destiny, you got to start from the beginning. You got to start with everything that you think. That's why things like affirmations are so powerful. That's why reading the Bible is so powerful, because you get an understanding that it's the renewing of your mind. And as a matter of fact, tonight, the backing verse for this episode that we're going to be going through and breaking down is Romans 12:2. And it says that be ye not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove that is good and acceptable and perfect will of God. And to go through this, I'm going to be breaking down at least 3 points of this verse. There are 3 different sections, and the first of which, speaking of which, good evening, everyone that's coming in. I see you there. What's going on, man? How you doing? But get back to the top. We're going to be talking to the first point of where it says, and be not conformed to this world, but be transformed. And this part of the verse simply means is that you shouldn't be conformed to this world. And that basically means you shouldn't be like everyone else. And when you look at conform, you look at the word fashion in the Greek and the Hebrew. And when you think about fashion, that's the way that we dress. That's the way that we act. Those are the things that we do. And what it's saying here is that you shouldn't be fashioned just like everyone else. You shouldn't be fashioned like the world is. You shouldn't follow the trends of the world. Now, while we may do things similarly as people in the world, we're supposed to set ourselves apart. We're supposed to be unique in whatever it is that we're doing. And when you think about that, you think about different areas in life. When you look at fast food, of course, you have places that burgers and fries. You have McDonald's, you have Burger King, you have Crystals, you have Checkers. But the thing that makes all those places unique is the way that they present those particular burgers and fries. McDonald's has the Big Mac, Burger King has the Whopper, Checkers has the Checker Burger, and Crystals got those suicide burgers my grandma used to call them, those small square burgers. Okay, and all of those things are different. While they are in the same industry, they are different. And as people, it gives me the understanding that we're supposed to be the same way. We're supposed to be unique in whatever it is that we're doing. We're not supposed to think like everyone else. We're not supposed to move like everyone else. We're not supposed to be like everyone else. And we're not supposed to be and do and think those things, because we're all unique in our own way. There are only one of us in the world. There will only ever be one of us. There was never a person like us before, and there never will be again. Everything about us is unique. Our personality traits, the things that we say, the way that we think, the way that we process the world around us, and even our fingerprints. There are no two people in the world with the same fingerprint. And that leads to the assumption that we're all unique and we're supposed to be unique. And that's where that whole transformation thing comes from, because you're not supposed to be like everyone else. You're not supposed to follow the fashion or the trends. You're supposed to stand out no matter what. And that even comes to even with looking at our lives as believers, we're supposed to be different. And that's something that has always been the weirdest thing to me, because even when I wasn't following God like I am now, I wasn't as public with it as I used to be. Not saying that I didn't believe in God. I didn't, testify with him when the time came up, but I just wasn't out there. You know what I mean? Every conversation I had with somebody, I wasn't just talking about God or anything like that. But even regardless of all of that, there would be people that would come up to me and they would just ask. They was like, "Excuse sir, are you saved? Or, do you believe in God?" And I would always say, "Yeah." But I was like, "How would you know?" And it's like, "You just look different." And for the longest time, I never really understood. And there would even be people around me, like even to this day, like there are some people, like if they don't cuss around me, which is the weirdest thing. And if they do cuss, they'll apologize. I'm like, "Well, why are you apologizing to me?" And they say, "Because I know you're not a person that curses." And it's the weirdest thing ever, but it just comes back to the transformation thing about you being unique. And honestly, even though that's not something that I really publicize, I really whatever, other people can see that. And that leads to itself. If people can see me doing that, they can see you being unique as well. And there's so many friends of mine that's on here, even people that's tuning in right now, that they're so unique in so many different ways, and they stand out no matter what crowd that they're in because they're unique. But the question is here as well is, how do you be transformed? How do you be unique? And the only way that you can be unique, and that brings us to the second point, is that you have to renew your mind. And when you look at renew right here, it means to change your mind, to change your intellect, to change the way that you think. And once again, one of the old sayings that my mentor would tell me is that your thoughts become your destiny. You have to control your thoughts, because what you become is what you think in your mind. And that goes back to the Bible verse of whatever man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So if you want to be great, if you want to be successful in life, you have to first believe that you're successful. And when you believe that thing, you become the thing that you believe that you are. If you don't think you're going to be great, if you don't think you could do anything, you're not going to be great. You're not going to be able to do anything. You have to think the opposite. You have to act like you already are. You have to act like you're already successful. You have to act like you're already achieved the goals that you want to accomplish. You know what I mean? If you want to take it even further, you think about relationships. If you want to be a wife, you got to act like a wife. If you want to be a husband, you have to already act like a husband, because when you act like those things and you act like where you want to be, you will attract the life that you want. Okay. If you want to be wealthy, you got to act wealthy. And I don't mean waste your bank account. Don't spend everything in your bank account, but have good habits, have good financial habits, save money, because wealthy people are great money managers. So if you want to be rich, save your money, and that comes with everything in life. And even when I think about renewing your mind, it makes me think about the world we have today, where so many people want to go out, they're starting their own business, they're becoming entrepreneurs. Where anybody that have their own business, anyone that's an entrepreneur, will tell you that you have to have a specific mindset like that. The same mindset that you had working on somebody else's job, going in there day in and day out, is a completely different thing. We out here on your own. And to be honest with y'all, it's a lot easier working in the corporate world, which is why I don't know why so many entrepreneurs flame people for wanting to work a regular 9 to 5, because when you got that 9 to 5, once you do your work, you log off, you go home, you could live with your life. Outside of that, you got PTO depending on the job. You may have sick leave. If not, you could call out sick. You got benefits, you got insurance. You know what I'm saying? You got all of those things going on for you, but the entrepreneur make it seem like, that you're not really doing nothing. In some cases, you be doing better than they be doing sometimes. But, even when you go through that shift, they're just two different mindsets. And honestly, in my personal opinion, I think some people are just better off working for somebody else. And it's not because they're not capable of working on their own, but you may not want the stress of doing those things. You might not want to deal with the thing of you working 80, sometimes 120 hours a week just to put food on the table. You may not want to have to deal with clients and stuff, because if you're working for somebody else, you don't have to have that leeway. And then outside of that, you may want to take 2 weeks on vacation. And as an entrepreneur, you might not be at a point where you could take off at all. But all of that stuff comes back once again to the mindset. And if you have that mindset and you truly believe that you can do that, then go into it and go through it 100%. You know, go and become the thing that you want to be. But at the same time, if that's not your lifestyle, if that's not what you truly want to be, and it's something you don't want to do, then don't do it. You know what I mean? But all of that comes once again with changing your mind. And that's something that you have to make if you want to transform, if you want to become greater in life. You have to make up your mind and you have to change that and you have to become that. And last but not least, the last point of this is, you know, why would you do all of these things? Why should you be different? Why should you be unique? And why should you change your mind and your very belief system? Why should you have positive thoughts about yourself? And to answer that question, it goes to the last part of the verse, that you may prove that which is good and acceptable and perfect will of God. And when you look at that, all of that is saying is that you do all of these things, you transform yourself, you become unique, and you change your mindset so that you can fulfill what you want to achieve in life. You have to, if you want to accomplish the things that you want in life. And that's something that's going to constantly happen. That's why renewing itself is an action, and that's not something that takes place at one point in time. You don't just wake up and say, I'm gonna be a new person, and then you become that new person. It's a shift that has to happen. It's a progression. There are steps that you have to take to get from one place to the next. And that shows me once again that even when it comes to life, that this is going to always take place. You're going to always be in a progression. You're going to always evolve as a person. And quite frankly, even when you look at Grounded, like the Grounded that you see today, even if you go back and look at the video that I had a month ago, this is not the same show. Like, you see a completely different background. You even see a completely different content that I'm delivering to you all. If you look back at Grounded 6 months ago, you'll see an entirely different Brian. If you look back to when I first started in June, you won't even recognize the way that this show is. You won't even recognize this type of delivery, because all of this has happened through transformation. And you know, if I could really sum this up tonight, you know, whatever you do in life, no matter what you're doing, you have to transform. You have to keep progressing. And the only way for you to do that is by changing your mind, by changing the way that you believe and changing the way that you see yourself. And all of that is relevant if you want to accomplish what it is you ultimately want to achieve in life. You have to do that. And to first do that, you have to realize that there's greatness inside of you. You have to realize that you can do any and everything that you set your mind to. And then you have to walk into that thing. You cannot fashion yourself after the rest of the world and expect to accomplish greatness, because it doesn't work like that, because greatness is an individual thing. You can't achieve greatness walking into the shadow of other people. And even though I talk about that, the best example I always use is the late Kobe Bryant, because in my opinion, he's probably one of the greatest basketball players at all time. He was right up there with Jordan. When you look at it, his skill, you look at his statistics and everything, he had the skill set, he had the move set, and he had the mentality to become the greatest. But the reason why most people put him far lower than I believe he should be on the ranks is because he was walking in the shadow of Jordan. He was trying to be like Mike. And the reason when he was trying to be like Mike, he doesn't get the respect that he probably deserves. And that comes for you as an individual person. If you want to achieve greatness, you can't do it in the shadow of the other people. You can't fashion yourself like everyone else in the world. You have to stand out and you have to be unique. And the only way that you do that is if you change your mind. You have your own thoughts, you have your own beliefs, you have your own passions, and you go after that with everything in you. But with that being said, y'all, I appreciate everyone that tuned in tonight. If you love this video, please be sure to like and share. I appreciate everyone that's been tuning in. Leo, I see you. Derek, I see you. Christian, I see you. I appreciate y'all for tuning in, man. As always, it's always a pleasure, man. And I hope y'all, like, if you get nothing else from this message, just understand that if you want to achieve greatness in life, you have to change your mind. You have to change your very belief system. And when you change that belief, we change the way how you see yourself and how you see the world, how you see the goals around you. when you realize those things are accomplishable, they are accomplishable, you become everything that you're supposed to be. So act as if you already are, and life will come to you. All right. And I'm going to leave y'all on that. But with that being said, y'all, I'm out of here. I'll talk to y'all soon. Y'all have a good night, and I will see y'all on Monday. My name is Brian Boyd. I'm signing off. Peace.